anyone who sticks a motorcycle, a car tyre on a fucking motorcycle is an idiot. Idiot.
The workshop. If you don't know me, I am D Redman, the guy that produced the video that you were so critical of. I don't so much mind criticism of my ideas, but the personal attacks is kind of bad. I think we should continue a discussion, but less personal attacks. I mean, calling somebody an idiot, that's not really cool, is it? I mean, is that you call everybody you disagree with an idiot? Is that how you conduct your business? So if we can continue without the idiot commentary and, let's just talk about our ideas and we can discuss ideas, I think that would be more productive. I think your viewers might get something out of what I've got to say, and I guess you'd probably get more views by attacking people. I don't know. That's not my style, but I would like to address some of the things that you brought up. Now that we're past the idiot thing, maybe we can be civil to one another and have a discussion. I appreciate the viewers that you're sending me. I appreciate that, but I kind of want to head off the commentary because most of the commentary comes from the same direction. It's kind of seems to be the same objections. Darksiders say this is what they say, and I think typically the main objection everybody says is these guys are cheap, that's why they do it. Yeah, I mean, who likes buying who likes buying tires for their motorcycle? I don't particularly care to replace tires, especially with the kind of miles that I put on my bikes. I just like riding. I don't like replacing motorcycle tires, and most of the time, in the past anyway, my tires have been very expensive. I mean, you can spend $300, $400, $500 on a car tire or a motorcycle tire as compared to car tires. Car tires are pretty cheap. It's a significant factor in most of our decisions, but for me, it's much more important that I continue to ride instead of. In the past, I've replaced motorcycle tires, 1,500, 2,000 miles. So, it really gets in the way of my riding. So that's my first objection to what many people have problems with is my cheapness. And like I said, it's a factor, but, maybe I ride harder and more than most other people and that's probably true. I mean, most of the people I know don't ride 50,000 miles a year. So, so it's a bigger factor for people that do, and the biggest factor that you will see overwhelmingly in the dark side community is the people that ride dark side specifically have very large, heavy bikes with a lot of torque. So they're going to go through tires a lot faster than somebody riding a scooter or a smaller displacement machine. Sport bike tires, I know a lot of guys that get 4,000 or 5,000 miles out of a sport bike tire. I've never been able to do that. Like I said, I go through tires. I'm very aggressive riding. I ride hard. I'm a big guy, so that doesn't help. I accelerate hard. I turn hard. I brake hard. It goes through a lot of tires. The biggest objection I have about motorcycle tires is they wear out fast and they're pretty expensive. I mean, compared to rubber ratio, car tire, you get 4, 5, 6 times the amount of rubber in a car tire, and you get a lot more wear. The handling sucks, and I'll talk about that towards the end. But the fact remains that car tires last longer. Believe it or not, they have better traction. That's just the way it is. You could believe me, you could try it yourself. You could believe other people that have ridden car tires on the rear of their motorcycle. Or you could just dismiss us all as retards and, idiots and do what you may. But with better grip, better traction, by nature, they're safer. I've worn out tires while I'm riding. Especially I go on a lot of long trips. And to have a tire fail while you're riding on the road, I've had that happen. I've been 70, 80 plus miles an hour when a tire went out on me. I've never had that happen with a car tire, but it's happened a couple times, 3 times with motorcycle tires. So go figure. I've probably got 70,000 miles on car tires. I don't ride dark side anymore. I don't have any big bikes anymore. But I wouldn't hesitate if I had a large, 1,000cc plus motorcycle, 700-800 pound plus motorcycle. I wouldn't hesitate, depending on if I could find the a car tire that would fit on the rim, and that's another thing we'll talk about. So what I would do is get you guys that are watching the video above to investigate more into the millions of miles that have been ridden successfully on car tires, and stop objecting to that's not what they're designed for. They're cheap. You're going to kill yourself, and really take into consideration the evidence that there are millions of miles that have been ridden on car tires. There's no evidence that they're more dangerous. There's no evidence that people crash with car tires. There's just no evidence. If you have the evidence, bring it forward. Show me that story that somebody crashed because of their car tire. And there should be evidence, not just somebody crashed and they were riding on a car tire, because we all know motorcyclists not all have the same skill level. So a crash that coincidentally had a car tire on it, for every one that you can show me, I can show you 1,000 more that had motorcycle tires on it that crashed. So it needs to be pretty specific evidence that somebody said this is what led to the crash, and you're just not going to find it. So bring me the evidence, and we can discuss that. The things that I will say that are true that really don't get talked about a lot, I've talked about this in the past. There are some things that nobody wants to discuss on either side, probably because it just doesn't come up. The people that have objections for the idiots riding car tires don't really talk about anything other than they're cheap. That's the only reason that they're idiots. So they're cheap. They're cheap, so they're idiots. But the truth are, there are some big differences. People talk about the bead. The bead is not designed. Car tire beads are not designed for motorcycle rims. That's just the case. So therefore, you're going to have a hard time most of the time getting a car tire to mount up on a motorcycle rim. You may get it on the rim itself, but to actually push the bead up onto the rim where the bead is on the rim, it's difficult and it takes a lot of work. So it's hard to mount. The bead is different almost always. And most importantly for me is, the handling is dramatically different. Unless you're riding a big heavy bike, that's, the handling is not why you ride the bike. It's, for cruising around, long distances, for comfort. It's not for, dragging a knee in a corner. That's not what you're riding this big bike for. And if that's the case, then a car tire will work for you. If you're all about dragging a knee and handling, a car tire is not going to be good for you, as was discussed earlier in the video. One of my commenters was asking for suggestions, and I was like, you're probably going to be disappointed. And that's true, But I think if everybody sits back, takes a deep breath, and examines the evidence, which there's tons of it positive for car tires, and very little, if none, negative evidence out there, other than, well, it's not designed for a car tire, you're a cheap bastard, and you're an idiot. If that's all you got, don't bother. I don't want to join in that discussion. But if you have something real you want to discuss, some concerns, you want to talk about beads, mounting issues, handling, any of that stuff, I'll be glad to discuss all that. But let's be civil. Let's talk. Let's talk more. And let's stop with the foolishness.